Welcome to the Restaurants Grow podcast, where you get tips, tricks, and tactics on how to grow your restaurant business. Today on the show live, we have Justin Bartek, Director of Marketing from Pepper Lunch Restaurants, a multi-unit casual restaurant serving hot Japanese teppanyaki. It is so good. We're not going to talk about the food, but it is excellent if you've not been. Justin's a seasoned marketing leader with over 20 years of experience across both restaurant and the entertainment sectors, and he is super deep on the marketing bench. He's worked with brands like Doghouse, Jinya Ramen Bar, The Halal Guys, Veggie Grill, Qdoba, Baja Fresh. I feel like you've covered like every food but pizza. So look out, Troy. Pizza comes along. Justin's got to complete the circle there. I am super excited to have Justin on the show. Not only is he one of my favorite marketing minds out there, but he has a crazy, awesome AI framework to share with us. Fun fact, he's been collecting records for 30 years, and not related to that, has also once had dinner with the Soup Nazi. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rev. How's everything?
Amazing, man. Amazing. You and I a little pre-show, so we'll talk. We'll do a different show about me, what's happening with bananas. But I want to kick this off on a high level. We are going to have a conversation about how marketers can use AI, and it's going to be 30 minutes in and out. We're going to get in and out quick. What is the single best use for AI for restaurant marketing?
Man, I think the single best use today, the one that everyone can get started with is content creation, but just, blog posts, things that you need help with, things that you can schedule out, things where you can build your own stories. So the way to go about it, how we've tried to do it, and a lot of people have done this, but in our GPT, we've created our own. So we fed it all the information about our brand, right? So that it is a resource now for us that we can bounce things off, and it can speak in our brand language. It can give us creative outputs. There still needs a human touch always, but it speeds up a lot of this process. So the easiest way is to start creating your own GPT. And there's many, go on YouTube. You can find many ways how to do it. I don't need to go and do that here. It'd take too much time, but just adding all that information in there and then using that as your resource, bouncing post ideas off of it, blog posts, emails, etc. Just get a lot out of it. And you can also ask it deep questions, depending on what you're using, what you're paying for, etc. You can get a lot of great insights and research out of AI today.
Amazing. Okay. I want to be clear for those that may or may not understand. So you're using ChatGPT, correct? That's it. Okay. And what you can do is you can go and create your own GPT. So you created like the Pepper Lunch GPT. And for those who don't know what that means, is you can basically teach ChatGPT to create its own ChatGPT for your brand. So you could have created a Justin GPT. You could have created one for another brand, but you basically taught ChatGPT to act, think, and understand Pepper Lunch, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so then when you go into ChatGPT, you're essentially talking to the Pepper Lunch GPT or the marketing Pepper Lunch, not just ChatGPT.
That's correct. Yeah, and we can ask it to do things like, scan our websites around the world and give us who we are or what we're selling, or you can do things like that are pretty interesting as well, and just keep gaining knowledge all the time based on what's going out into the world. So that's it's flexible.
One of my favorite things to do for a restaurant is essentially a really light version of that. You go into ChatGPT and you go, "Hey ChatGPT, what do you know about insert your brand name?" And then it just spits out a bunch of stuff. You read it. If it feels correct, great. It gets you. And then just start asking questions like, "Hey, does their brand promise match what their guests say about them?" Like that kind of really that's a really great way to get started. To at least that's a way to teach it, but also understand do we do what we say we do?
Definitely that. And also just getting deeper insights. So you could say, who are the main competitors in my neighborhood? How long have they been in business? You can start asking these very granular questions to learn things about who's in your area, who you're up against, get more information. Information is key. So there's a lot of things you can pull out of it, over time.
Amen. Would you say that piece of it is the key to getting started, is the teach your GP to be you?
I think so, for brand folks like us, right? Like we don't want it to be generic. We want it to know who we are, but from our perspective as well, because part of it is marketing. Like when we tell our story, we're telling what we want you to hear. It might not be exactly what reality is. We hope it is, but we're trying to aspire to be what we are as well. So it's a way to kind of live in a walled garden, if you will, too. It's like you're keeping it separate a little bit. but it's something that everybody should do that's at the brand level as a starting point, I think.
You just gave me an idea. What if I took all my 1-star reviews and taught Chat GPT to be that person,
Right.
and then tell me how to avoid it?
Yeah, I mean, great use case. Like it can do that. It can dive into data in ways that are fast, that really haven't been available before. And I've been doing it for over 20 years. In the last 5 years, it's never been like this with just tech and the technology revolution in general. And then you throw AI on top of that a few years ago, and now everything's even faster. So, it's moving at warp speed, and it's a lot of the OG marketers that I learned from. I don't think they could survive in this world, because it's moving so fast. It's very tough, and there's less rules every day too, which is interesting.
Okay, and I want to get into a second into your assembly framework and what you're doing there. For anybody that was at QSR Evolution and saw Troy Hooper speak last week, literally in the middle of that conversation, I reached out to Justin's like, book time on my calendar next week. I want to see this. So I want to get into that. But before we sort of break down into like this exact framework you're using AI every day, right? It's changing every day. Like, what are you using? How do you think about that? Like, how do you figure out what you're going to do? How do you approach your day of AI?
Yeah, there's a few ways. In my role, I'm mainly, the Chat GPT side, using what we've built to help create content. That's my thing. Our CTO, he's younger than me. He's the one that's like really pushing the boundaries of the AI and finding new things all the time, because there's a new startup every week that can do something a little different or something interesting. So he and I are always kind of going back and forth on, have you seen this tool? Have you seen what these guys can do? Have you experimented with this? And he'll say, oh yeah, I've used that. It doesn't do this, but this one is really good. And so we just start building off of that. And then at a high level, it's like, how can we use the tools to create? Because really at Pepper Lunch, it's me in marketing. I don't have a team. So it's me. I'm working with the CTO on this. So we have to get a lot done with a little. So what we do is say, like, how can we move the brand forward? An idea that we have is we have a mascot that the brand invented, a year ago, called Peppy. So we thought, you know what, our TikTok right now kind of sucks. Why? Because a lot of our content is made for all the other channels, and TikTok's kind of a thing. Why not create a channel with Peppy and let that be the brand channel? Use AI for everything, develop storylines, give them a backstory, make it a worldwide mascot, and allow it to have a backstory that starts the story. But then if I'm in Singapore, the Singapore marketing team can tell their own story that's culturally relevant with that character and use it and make content with it, right? That's culturally relevant. Japan, same thing. China. So it doesn't have to be the same across the world. And that's where I live with a brand that's in 17 countries. I have to be able to do that. So we're just trying to be smart about it. We're trying to make it fast. We're trying to make it good. And we're trying to give someone something they've never seen before. That's the other piece of it. I look at a lot of weird shit on the internet, on TikTok, on Instagram. There's a channel called Chaitan 4107. It's literally a mascot from Japan that someone made. It's not based on any character that I know, but he's crazy and he has 3.7 million followers, and he just does crazy stuff and people follow it and like it. So now I'm like, can I put Peppy in that world? Can I have him fight him? Can I do something crazy? Can we collab? Because that's what it is, getting new eyeballs and getting people to be interested in your brand. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. So the AI helps with execution and then just ideas and like, how can we do it? How do we execute? When you get into the tools, if we're doing all the content piece, we're using VO3 right now because it's probably the best at it. But we're using other AIs as well to help build what we want, because it's not one tool. What Troy, speaks that all this stuff just works. It's like, no, we have to use maybe 5 AI tools to get an output that we like or that works or that is repeatable. That's getting better. Just creating your character over and over in different situations, AI will lose it, right? That's getting better now, but that's within the last 2 months. So it's constantly evolving and getting better. And so you have to be on it. You have to know your channels. You have to know all the products and know what does what really well, and then start diving in on it, because it's going to change. And that's the only constant. And other tools will get better. And then you'll be caught off guard and say, shit, now I need to use Grok because Grok's doing something that no other tool does as well. So it's a constant, smashing it. But when you get it going, there's so much you can do, because you can easily pivot and use a different tool and keep the idea the same.
Okay, let's say that, thank you. Let's say that I go into ChatGPT and I teach ChatGPT to be Dead Rev. That's who this is over here, Dead Rev. And I create Dead Rev as a person. What tool would I use to go actually create video-based content to give Dead Rev a TikTok?
There's a few different ones. I mean, we've experimented with tools that allow you to kind of create almost like a carousel, but then have an AI generated character over it talking about it. So almost like if you go do a food review, and it's really you out there, you could make a rev that looks like you, and it sits on the screen how they do over the content you shot this way, not at your face, and then you talk it over. It's in your voice, you write it out, you write the prompt and say, here's the review, and then digital rev does it, and you put it on
Dead Rev.
digital dead rev.
I'm cool with real rev. Dead Rev's gonna do it.
Dead rev. So that's what I mean, though. But that's already possible. It's expensive. That's the other thing we don't talk about. All these tools are amazing. All these tools are expensive, and they're credit based. So if you don't know what you're doing, the barrier to entry is, shit, I don't want to waste money. That's expensive. And this costs 20 tokens, and you're trying to figure out the economy because all of these tools are a little different. So there's a cost factor that you have to, your brand has to buy in. Like, we need money to play with this, to try it, to do things, to make it do things that we want, because it's not as simple as just a prompt and it's going to be perfect. There is a human element, and you need to work through the content. You need to build it, and you need to keep prompting and keep generating until you get it, and it takes time. It's not a first time kind of thing.
So would that be like walking into Chuck E. Cheese and committing to the go-kart before I've thrown a single skee ball?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. I don't want to take anything away, because also, like, I'm not sure I completely get it, but can you walk us through what you're doing with assembly, what assembly is, how you use that, and then if you want to screen share or whatever, just take the mic and walk us through that. What that looks like.
Let me do this here.
Probably start with what assembly is and how you use it, or
cool.
How you got to it.
Assembly is basically a tool. I think we can see my screen. I'll go into it. It's not gonna go. Now I can't see you, but that's all right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me go back. This is basically the assembly calendar. And if you look over here, I've got things scheduled out for a few weeks. You can see the channels. All of our channels are in here. So you load up your channels, your handles, and then you can kind of start, building posts out. So I'll give you a quick example. I'll build one. It's going to be a B2C post. Let's do very quickly. Create. And now it takes me into the builder. Pretty straightforward, but we start with a photo real quick. I'll use one of these. It'll load it. It will convert. So if it's not the right format, that's nice. You see it here. What I do in my day is then I say, okay, let me go in, which I've already done for speed. I put in the photo and I say,
you've jumped over to ChatGPT now, correct?
Yes, sorry. Okay. I go to chat, which is here. I say, write engaging social copy for this post, create for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Boom. And then it creates my content. So I will grab this, and I need to update it because we're taking off hashtags because they're not relevant. I go here, I paste. Boom. Rule 1, get rid of those. They don't exist in language the way we think. So I always move those, and it's an ultimate tell as well that it's coming from GPT.
Do you want to take a minute to explain to everybody what you just said?
Yeah. So if you saw that comma, that extended comma that was here, that comma does not exist in language the way you think it does. It doesn't look like that. It's something that comes from ChatGPT. Yes, when you're writing, it's the absolute correct way, but it does it every time. So it's a tell that you're using ChatGPT. If you don't care, then just please copy and paste. But I think people are getting sophisticated. They're going to know. And eventually this is going to need to change. But here's my copy. I go here. I can cross post. Again, I build out my channels. I'll select these two. It will fill them in. I will go back here and grab my Facebook. And again, this ChatGPT is also set up, it's we say we want this to be relevant, to the audience, to today's audience, to the latest algorithm. Like, we're updating this as we go, to keep it as relevant as possible.
So get rid of the long dash.
Yeah, get rid of that. And then our LinkedIn real quick. Oops.
Okay, so is Assembly similar to a Hootsuite, or does Assembly have like an AI agent like use for it?
It's similar to Hootsuite, really, but they are building some more tools. And what I also like is that I can change everything in one place very easily. So I'll schedule that post. Boom, it goes in. Once this is done uploading, I'll go back and show you that, at my brand, we've got our brand, and then we've got other workspaces. So like, this is one of our franchisees, and we can see their content as well, on the calendar. I can approve it. Just a nice to have, just to show you that. But that's Assembly, very quick, high level, how you would do a post and how it kind of operates. Again, not a main AI tool. The AI tool is ChatGPT, and then we also use, like I said, Gemini and VO and those things, to create content. So I'll show you some of the content stuff, just very simple stuff. But like, took a photo of the boo in a pepper lunch outfit and then said, make it wave. Put that in VO. That's a piece of content now. If I want, I can create a post off of that. Small use of AI, but that's something we've done.
Sorry, so hold on, you that image is entirely AI generated?
It's a real photo that I put in VO and then had it animate. But I could do that a bunch of times. I could prompt it to do different things. It could be content. I could tell it to hold a sign saying something. Sky's the limit. That's where the prompting comes in. So you can get very creative with that. And then just these are animated from regular posts. So this was created by a designer, and then we put it in to get the animation. Simple things like that, and we can ideate off that and keep trying to create different posts. We can get motion. We can put things into TikTok that didn't start out as video, etc. So it's a quick tool for that reason. But we're constantly ideating off of it and trying to keep creating new things with all these tools. That's the goal.
What's the animation tool you're using?
Right now it's VO3. So the Gemini tool is probably the best one for now. There are other tools though that can make it do more things. So like, you could create content in VO3, save it, and then output it into another AI and make a movie or make a full 30-second piece. Or, there's a lot of tools like that as well. And it becomes just preference or cost or all these things on what you can do and what you want to do. But that's a starting point there, of what we're doing with just the content. And to the point of Troy saying 6 months out, I could do that. I could make my calendar now, and do it 6 months out. I don't like to work that way personally, because things happen and there's change. And what this has allowed me to do, as when Taylor Swift did the podcast with the Kelseys, I made a post talking about things that happened in that, using chat and using my brand and saying, hey, you should come, whatever. Like, I want it to be as relevant as possible. So it'll get better over time as we do.
Okay. So can we do this? I think this will be fun. I am going to can I send a link through Restream here? Let me look. I don't know if I can. Oh, if I go into the chat, do you get this link?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to show people how easy this is, can we take a picture of my hamburgers at Handcraft Burgers and Brew, put it in a video, animate it in something, like, just show people how easy this is?
Yeah, I think so.
So I just gave you a picture of a double burger stack behind the stage here.
I might have one problem though, dude. Let me see.
What's that?
I might have used all my credits for the day.
Okay.
No joke.
So again, I've purchased the go-kart without playing a single game of skee ball.
Yes. Yeah. So no, I can't do it because I'm out of credits. I'm looking right now. But you could on your side if you just go in Gemini.
Okay, so where do I go for Gem? Hold on, let's do this.
If you could share yours, I'll show you. It's pretty simple.
Okay, so just go to Gemini. Where are you accessing Gemini?
Just the main Gemini site. So if you just go into the main, just Google it. It should take you to the first link. All right.
And then did you chat with Gemini?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
We'll go full screen. Use Gemini. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay.
So many steps, right? Okay. Now underneath it should say video, like on the little like the drop down. I can't really see your screen that well here, but underneath the prompt box, like there's different options there.
Oh, there's tools. There's create with video. Okay, so add a photo.
Put your photo there.
So we'll do that. We'll go. Gotta give me the same one that we used, which was this one.
And now you just prompt what you want to see.
Okay. A superhero goat sharing a burger with a half eagle, half toilet plunger.
Thanks for making it easy.
Well, I want to do something complicated to see what, to show people. Sorry, we don't want to do that. Stop. Okay. So there I've loaded the picture of the two hamburgers, a simple prop just through Google Gemini. And so it's going to look at, I'm generating a video, could take a few minutes. So it's basically, walk us through what's happening here. It's looking at the picture.
It's basically working in the background. And that's a very complex ask. So this might take the full 2.5 minutes. But it's basically working. And then sometimes when this is happening, I'll go do something else because it's not instant. I mean, it's going to take a few minutes, but then you'll come back to it and it'll be on your screen. And then you can download and save that image or video piece. So we'll see that if it can figure out what a half plunger is.
A half eagle, half plunger. Okay, I'm going to take that off screen. We'll go back to the conversation. I'll come back to this one again. So like, how often are you how are you using AI to think about okay, I got to schedule content for 30 days. Like, what does the start of that process look like?
A lot of it's, like I said, trying to figure out the latest best practices and using AI to question that, or querying data off of web pages. So you could say, hey, go to this web page and tell me all the latest, or what do I need to know? Or can you query, LinkedIn for the best LinkedIn practices, and it'll tell you what LinkedIn thinks you should do, etc. Just things that make it easier. You don't have to go search for that. It brings it to you. And then what I like about AI in that sense is just the continuous conversation. You can keep digging and you can say, actually, I don't like this or need this. I need this over here. And it will go get that and tell you, but it keeps the context. So that's a real, a way of how should I schedule these chats? And then I guess there is AI in assembly, because did you see that time that came up was optimized by AI? They say, how much? I don't know. I can't check it, but they're saying that's the time we should post based on the factors of our brand, the time of day, the channel, etc. So it does have a small AI component for that. But yeah, that's another piece.
So are you going, hey, ChatGPT, generate me 18 ideas for social media this month? Is that how that starts, or are you coming from a different place?
I like to be more natural. I like to let my actual designers design. So it'll be like, hey, this is what we need. We need B2B posts that talk about selling the brand to franchise partners. And what does that look like? A lot of that is data driven. Hey, here's our AUV. Here's a number of locations. Here's how much it costs to get started, etc. Those are different, but those are a set. And then we've got, our partner posts, we call them. So like 7 Shifts and Momos and all the partners we're using today, we've got posts for them, and we post them on LinkedIn, we post them on socials and talk about what we're doing. That helps with B2B sales, but it's also just an FYI, and it's a shout out for our partners. And then we've got the strict, B2C content, people having fun, people eating, people showing the hot plate, video of that. We've got peppy content now that we're starting to think through. So that's the big one with the AI. I didn't want it to just be AI though for the peppy thing, and I'm sorry I don't have it to show you because we're not there yet. But what I live in LA, and across the street is a husband and wife that actually write TV. And so I literally had him come over here, talk to Jonathan, my CTO, and I on a Zoom. And he's like, you know what, if you're going to do this, who's the enemy? Like, how are you going to tell this story for so long if there's no conflict? There has to be this. You should look at it from this perspective. You should introduce new characters. Maybe you create a character for the mushroom that is like part of your, your main ingredients. But people love mushrooms, and think of Toad, and think of, the psychedelic people and all that shit. But like, it all can tie in. It could be funny. It could be a part of the story. So he got our minds really like, yeah, we need to really develop, then let the AI take over after we, the human element, create the actual backstory. Like, Pepe's from the planet Tepan, Rev. He crashed his spaceship in Japan in 1994, and then he's a chef though. And he was responsible for stealing all the cows. They get abducted. It's Pepe. He's been stealing our cows forever, right? Like, so we have this backstory we're building, but then from there it can go be whatever it needs to be.
Remind me to email you when we're not in the middle of a podcast about Marcelo Tarato, a character I created about 15 years ago who knows how to butcher mythical creatures. And the 17-page recipe book I created that got turned down by many, many publishers. That now might be different than AI here. All right, our video's ready. Let's see what we got here.
All right.
Okay, so let's go over here. Okay, so again, Gemini free tool. I got 2 credits. It says your video is ready. I'm generating a video that includes a superhero goat, a half eagle, and half toilet plunger, sharing a burger using the image I provide. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's see.
Damn.
That is pretty amazing, actually.
Right?
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the sound's coming through, but it has sounds as well. Okay, so you would download this or whatever you created and then put it into assembly and then yada, yada.
I could, or what we'd probably do is we wouldn't use something that raw. We would put it in another tool and then try to get some standardization, because a lot of times if we're using Pepe, it's a custom character. The AI tools used to not like to recreate the same image over, right? It would just distort, like you've seen The Rock, whatever, all these things online. They're getting better, and you can now kind of recreate. You can also change the camera angle, which is very interesting. So if it's like it's you and I, and then I can tell the GPT shoot from above, and it's us talking, but it's from above, and it's a totally new angle. So there's things with story that you can do now that you couldn't do before, just based on stuff like that.
What tool are you using for that?
Dude, I forgot the exact names. I'm sorry. I knew you were going to ask. Okay. I don't know. I don't know the tool off the top. That's a great Jonathan question, my CTO. And if anyone wants to come back to this, I'll put it in wherever this goes. I'll write it as a comment. I don't want to short you guys. I know it's important, but again, these things change on the daily, so it's hard to remember.
I think my superhero goat wants to be featured in an episode highlighting where the space vehicle crashed before any cow was ever stolen.
Yes.
That is amazing. This is probably the most fun podcast I've ever recorded for this particular show. But
interactive, man. So you got to play along here.
It was great. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up in about 2 minutes. But like for somebody who's starting to like we goofed around a little bit today, but you really did show some. If somebody's literally like, I don't know what to do with AI, like what's the first thing? Teach it to understand your brand. Like open up ChatGPT. Is that the best?
Yeah, I'd say the first thing is pay for ChatGPT. Pay the $20 for the $20 version, and then also pay for Gemini. Those are the 2 main ones. Gemini is so plugged in with our world as far as Google anyway on your phone. It's very easy to use. So those 2 are your starting point, and do use paid versions, because like you said, like I showed, I ran out of credits, like even with a paid version. So it's not a lot, but if I need to go pro, then I can, and then I can start really busting out content. So I don't have the pro sub, but he does. So that's that. But I would say start with those 2, and start just tasking. The other thing I like to do too is a tool called what's it called? I have a tool on my phone just for recording conversations. And so I can go on a walk and speak into existence what I want to happen. And that's fucking phenomenal. It's a fascinating thing, because what I do is I do it, I record the whole thing, I come back, I copy the text and I put it into the GPT and I say, now spell this out and give me a flow of like, what do I need to do first to get this done? And give me the plan of what I said. So it's like, I'm speaking this into reality instead of writing it down or making a presentation or whatever. I can do that. You throw the data in and then let the computer do that. So that's just an easy use. There's tools like Granola and some others that will do that. But I would say those are the three.
I definitely want to learn more about that. All my weekly blog posts on LinkedIn, I go for a walk. I talk to my phone, I give it to ChatGPT and I say, can you clean this up? Don't erase my voice. These are the words I want to use. This is like, it's me, just make me sound smarter than I am.
So, yeah, and I would say just think of it from a level of how can I save time? If you want to start somewhere, just what things would save me time, and start incorporating the AI to help you with that. That's the best starting point.
I love it. Justin, this was awesome. Like I said, it's a 30-minute show hard. It's 30 minutes right now. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, everybody who listened in. If you're listening to this as the audio podcast, come back. The broadcast with all the video examples for this is on LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you liked what you heard today, please jam that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify,